and let's furnish it. Now, it was easy for her, I think, to persuade Elisha, but her hard job was in persuading her husband. And she was successful in persuading her husband. She was successful. You see, this tells me that she was not merely a smart woman, she was a wise woman. A wise woman builds her house. A foolish woman tears it down with her own hands. She really tears it down with her tongue. Let me just tell you this. God gave women the power of persuasion. Women hold the power of persuasion. It is the hand that rocks the cradle that rules the world. Don't you mistake and underestimate the power that you have in persuasion. My daddy was a bold leader, but my mother was a meek and a quiet spirit, but she could make that man do whatever she wanted him to do because she was sweet. Men are bent over backwards for a sweet woman. They'll box a mean woman down. I'm just telling you. I'm just trying to give you. You don't want to fight. You're not trying to. Listen, if you act like an opponent, if you act like a man, he'll treat you like one. Be the delicate vessel. Use your power of persuasion. Let me tell you something. The Bible says if any of you lack wisdom, let him ask of God, and God gives to all men liberally and upbraideth not. That's one prayer that God said that he will answer for you, that if you ask him for wisdom, God will give you wisdom. And you better start asking God, God, give me wisdom to show me when I need to speak up and when I need to hold my tongue. Hold my tongue. Jesus, help me to hold my tongue. Because it can ruin your house just because you can't hold this tongue. Ask God for wisdom. Ask God for wisdom. And God will just help you to do it right at the right time in the right tone. It's to say, can I have $25? God will give you wisdom. God will give you wisdom. God will give you wisdom. And that wisdom will cause you to triumph, and it'll cause you to prevail. God will give you wisdom. So great people are persuasive. Women hold the power of persuasion. Don't ever forget that. You've got the power of persuasion. But be careful in how you use it. You need God's wisdom in wielding the sword of persuasion. It is a power that God gives to women of persuasion. This lady persuaded the man of God to come to her house and eat, and she persuaded her husband to allow them to build an extension onto their home and furnish it for another man. Persuasion, and they did it with a smile. Persuasion. They are persuasive. They are persuasive. Secondly, great people are perceptive. They are perceptive. You don't have to tell them everything. There are certain things that they perceive. This woman, not the man, perceived that he was a holy man of God. Women are naturally more spiritually discerning than men are. The woman perceived that this was a man of God. I wish we had more perceptive women now in the world who marry somebody who looks like he's a man of God, but inwardly he's a wolf in sheep's clothing. Perceptive women begin to say, you know what, there's something that I'm discerning here. I can't exactly put my finger on it. I don't understand this. This something is just not quite adding up here. And what has been presented to me and told to me here, I mean, it sounded good, and but something doesn't feel quite right. I'm perceiving that there's something that's deeper here than what meets the eye. I mean, everything that they said is okay, but there's something that anybody know what I'm talking about? You ever had some discerning on the inside where you begin to perceive that there is something in here, that they are not everything that they said that they are? But great people are perceptive people. She perceived who he was, that he was a holy man of God. She perceived who he was. Secondly, she perceived what he needed, that he needed food. She persuaded him to eat. She perceived not only who he was, she perceived what he needed. And then thirdly, she perceived what would bless him. What would bless him was building a place to accommodate him. That would bless him. She perceived who he was, she perceived what he needed, and then she perceived what would bless him. And she met all three of those because she was a perceptive woman, a perceptive woman. Great people are not only persuasive, they are also perceptive. You don't have to explain everything to them. They perceive certain things and then they'll meet it. Thirdly, great people are persistent. They are persistent. I didn't say that they are a nuisance. They are persistent. That means that they have a determination to be able to see a project through. Because in one verse here, it'll say that she said, let us make this and build this, and then it's built it as though it was built like in 2 days. But back in that time, I mean, you building onto your house, it probably took a year. When they would build the cathedrals and these big palatial places, it would take them hundreds of years. Building is a slow process, so you have to have persistence in whatever it is that you're building, because building is a process. And so it may have taken a year to build this addition onto their home. But it sums it up in one verse, and you might think that it happened just like that, when you need to realize this thing happens by process. Little by little, day by day, week by week, month by month, year by year. It is a process. Building is done by process. You can't build a great thing in just 2 or 3 months. It's going to take some time to lay the foundation and really build it. So she was persistent. And here is what maturity is. Maturity is the ability to remain committed to your commitment when the emotion that got you excited to begin has passed. Are you listening? That's what maturity is. It's the ability to remain committed to your decision after the emotional excitement has worn off. And there are a lot of immature people that get excited all at the beginning of something, and then when the emotional excitement wears off, all of their commitment is gone because they lack maturity. A mature person will say, I gave you my word, I'll be there. I signed up for this, I'm going to do it. That's maturity. That's maturity. It takes persistence. Great people are persistent in what it is that they attempt to do. So they are persistent. And finally, they are providing. They are providing. Great people, they provide various things. They provide encouragement. They provide inspiration. They provide cheer. They provide needs. They provide provisions, as it were. And you have to ask yourself the question, what is it that I possess that I can provide? I know that you can provide advice. You can provide encouragement. You can provide knowledge. You can provide companionship. You can provide prayer, strength. You can provide emotional support to someone. You might be able to provide physical support to someone. You might be able to provide money. But there's something that you can provide. Great people are persuasive, they are perceptive, they are persistent, and they are providing. This woman was all 4 of these things. She had all of these things working in her life, and she actually made room. She made room. And so when you make room, you'll be surprised what can happen in your life. And I want you to notice this, that when this woman furnished this place, she put a bed there. And in this bed was creating a place of rest. And everybody needs rest. If you're going to be a righteous person, man of God, a woman of God, you're going to have a place of rest. To take a chill from all of the demands of the world, you have to have a place of rest. Secondly, she put a table there. This is a place of eating, where he could eat. This is to be able to nourish his soul. Thirdly, she put a chair there. The chair was a place to study, so that he could enrich his mind, his spirit. It was a place to study. And fourthly, she put a lamp there. This is a place of illumination. What good is it to study if you can't see the revelation of anything that you're reading? So there was a lamp that was provided for the illumination of what God could do. And may I tell you that when you make room, God will come. God will show up when you create room. And little did this lady know, that when she built a room in her house for the man of God, that it would force that man of God to ask his servant, what is it that this woman needs? She's got to have something. There's got to be something. And this woman was so wealthy that she didn't perceive her own need. But Gehazi, his servant, noticed and said, she's got everything. She's got money, she's got a nice house, she's got means and provision. But he noticed, he said, she has no son. And the man of God, because she made room for him, he said, by this time next year, you're going to have a son. You'll be holding a son.
Thank you for watching Power for Living with Bishop Dale C. Bronner. Until next time, God bless you.